Hello and welcome to the Wire Talks. I'm Sidharth Bhatia. The Overseas Citizen of India scheme was introduced 20 years ago in 2005 to provide benefits to people of Indian origin and to spouses of Indian citizens. Holders could enter, stay, and work in India without a visa, though there were some restrictions. It was meant to foster closer bonds between India and the vast Indian diaspora. But lately, OCI cardholders are a nervous lot about this being taken away. The OCI cards of several people have been cancelled for different reasons. One such recent case was that of journalist Vanessa Duniak, whose card was revoked because the government said her reporting was creating a negative perception about India. Her OCI status has been reinstated since then. The case of academic Dr. Ashok Swain, who's a Swedish national, is even more stark. Swain is the professor and head of Department of Peace and Conflict Research in Uppsala University in Sweden and is UNESCO chair on international water cooperation. He has been a regular commentator on India in publications all over the world. His articles and tweets were strongly critical of the Modi government on topics such as the farmer strike and the agitation against CAA. Ashok Swain's card was revoked in 2022, which was then overturned by the courts in 2023. Within 2 weeks, the government once again cancelled it, and on March 28, that is last week, the courts set aside that order too. He is our guest today, Dr. Ashok Swain. Welcome to the Wire Talks.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Ashok, I used to follow you on Twitter or X, but don't find you there anymore. It says account withheld. What does it mean?
I think in August 2023, I got a message from the X that my account for some legal reasons has been withheld in India. And I asked what is the reason behind it, and they don't provide me any reason. It happened immediately after the government cancelled my OCI for the second time. It's coincided with the cancellation of my OCI a second time, and also withholding my X account for Indian audience.
But the people at X have not told you that this was on government orders as such.
They says it's because of the legal demand from the government.
Okay, so the government has been linked to the withholding of your X account. Now, coming to the OCI, why exactly was your OCI status revoked the first time?
You see, this is I mean, I came after studying in India, 91, joined faculty here. I used to carry an Indian passport. The time when 2004, 2005, when the previous BJP government decided, planned for what you call it, the dual citizenship, or at least that's what they called that time. Then I applied for the Swedish passport, and I thought I will have a dual citizenship because of my travel reasons. Because I travel all over the world for my work, and it's always helpful to have a passport which is a Swedish passport to carry it for not to get the visa for everything. So that is the reason why I applied for a Swedish passport. But then they changed the rules. They changed the rules for the whether it should not be a dual citizenship, it will have a OCI. Then I was still not sure whether I should go for OCI, because I always thought this will be not exactly a good thing to do. I mean, because but anyway, finally I applied for OCI in 2020 because I realized that might be, because I think this is now because I still was thinking of going back to my Indian passport when this was really changed. But then I went apply for OCI in 2020, and got it immediately afterward. Immediately, but then I got OCI card in the beginning of 2020. I think January or February, something like that. But then in November 2020, I got a letter from the Swedish embassy in Stockholm, Indian embassy in Stockholm, saying that I'm banned to enter India, and they gave me a so-called notice saying that why my OCI should not be cancelled. So they first banned my entry to India, and then the so-called notice. And so-called, I had given 2 weeks of time, so I discussed with some friends and lawyers and gave a so-called notice, and I asked them to listen. I mean, if you are giving me a so-called notice, I need to know what I have done. I mean, I haven't done anything which is considered what you think anything illegal. I'm an academic. I have I've been following Indian politics for long. I have been a commentator. I have been a critic of the certain policies and the politics of the present government, and that's it. That's what final is all about. So when I asked them and then also how I have been a resource for the Indian embassy in Stockholm for a long period of time. I gave those kind of instances, even when the President Pranab Mukherjee had visited Sweden on a state visit. I had invited him to give the only public talk. He gave it in our university. I had even partly wrote his speech asked by Indian embassy, and I've done a number of things for the Indian embassy here. And because I come from India and I had a good relationship, and I said, look, what exactly I have done, please tell me that what I did. But I didn't get any answer. And I was getting. Then I started writing to them, asking them, please give me an answer. But without giving me an answer, 2022 they cancelled my OCI.
Just 1 minute. During that period when you were asking for an answer, that means you had the OCI for barely a few months first, and then after that in 2022. So you did not have the OCI for too long.
No.
During those few months when you were sending letters, official letters, and they were sending you letters back, since you had good relations with the embassy, did anyone tell you anything privately?
No, because I think what happened, you see, I mean, that time the Indian embassy had changed its particularly, I don't know, their contacts with me. Indian embassy was regularly in contact with me till 2016. So, I mean, anyone who comes to, wants to give a lecture, they ask me to invite them to can I invite them, arrange a lecture. Even when an ambassador arrives here, new ambassador, I organize a lunch for them to meet the colleagues, those who are working on India, and also our university bosses, that they can meet them. And then also I have been hosting to the kind of ICCR professors, or the kind of professors who come from there. I have been hosting them here. So this is not exactly, but after 2016, Indian embassy is stopped contacting me in a sense. But then this 2020, when I applied for OCI, it came without any problem. There was no problem.
Isn't that surprising? I mean, considering that by then you were truly, kind of well known for what you were writing. How did the OCI card come? What do you think? Did it happen accidentally, or they didn't mind, or what?
I don't know. I mean, I can't guess these things because it's also sub judice, but I don't know exactly what was this. But frankly, if you see this, there is a it's a political decision has been made, that as far as I can see. Because otherwise, if it's a bureaucratic decision, this bureaucratic decision would have stopped me, if because I have been writing against the present government and its policies from the very beginning. So after so long, after almost 6 years, then I got my OCI. But after I got my OCI in the January 2020, I went for a family occasion to family marriage taking place in Bhubaneswar for 3-4 days, and that's the only travel I made with the OCI card. And after that, I came back, and then November I got the notice.
So now in 23, which month was it? I think February,
23 July, I got the July. Yeah.
July. Once the court said no, you have to reinstate it, that should have been the end of the matter, isn't it?
I it didn't.
I mean, what I'm trying to ask is, didn't you think that it was the end of the matter?
Yes, of course. I mean, not only me, also my lawyers, and also they thought that it's the end of the matter, and I should be able to come to India. And I was planning to come to India to meet my mother and family and my in-laws, but unfortunately, while I was in the family with traveling after the verdict, and before I come back to Uppsala and get my tickets to go to India, I got the second order, which cancelled my OCI immediate after 2 weeks of that of the first High Court judgment.
So clearly, you thought it had become a little personal.
That gave me the thing that it has become a personal issue of some sort.
Okay, and then you fought that order again, and the government had order once again cancelled it. And just now, a few days ago, from this conversation of ours, it had been set aside too. So surely, yeah, the risk is always there that they will do it once more.
Listen, Siddha, this is the kind of thing is from the very beginning. I made it, I thought it's a personal case. I never wanted to make it public, not make it an issue, because I thought if this is some things I will be taking the case legally. So I had not, from honest, though I got this notice in 2020 November, and then the case was filed on, I remember it's 22 December. So more than 2 years, I had not told anybody that this is the case, or the kind of what is going on for me. And this is some things I haven't also made it an issue or try to anyone to raise this issue for me. This is what I'm, because I want to take it as a legal issue. I want to fight because I still believe in the Indian constitutions, Indian legal system, and I think there is some things which I can fight this case, and with the help of my friends and lawyers. But I think this is what it is. It's a case which I'm fighting on that basis. Yes, I think it's a somehow quite unfortunate that despite the 2 times Delhi High Court has given the judgment clearly in favor of me, saying that this case doesn't have any merit of that such, or it has not followed the process of the law. Uh, and I still, I mean, I'm in a country which I was born and brought up, a country which I love, and a country where I have planned all through my life to live after my retirement, everything and this is something's happening. It's a sad, but I think it's some things I don't really know how to otherwise put it, just to say that this is something's not expected.
Uh, what is your own judgment on why this may have happened?
I this is the
Because,
question.
because I'm presuming, Ashok, I'm presuming that none of the cancellation orders or none of the communication has actually said. I don't know what has been said in the court documents, but none of them have actually been said. From what I can, from what I'm hearing, that the government's reasons are as follows. So, what is your personal, unless there is some reason given?
The reason second time they made some things that they have some things against me which they cannot really give it to me because it's so sensitive, but they can or they cannot give it to my lawyer, but that will be given to the court or the judge if judge asks for it in the closed or what you call the sealed envelope. That's the term they use. uh, but I think they have shown it to the judge in that, but still, this doesn't. As I now, after the judgment, it shows that there is nothing of that nature, which is something which I have done. And I mean, what can an academic can do this such a and my everything has been open. Whatever I write, whatever I speak, is nothing to be something secretive about it. I'm open about my criticism, as I mentioned from the very beginning, the present government's policies and politics.
Well, you also wrote in one of your articles that Rahul Gandhi is the only challenger to Modi. That couldn't have gone down well.
I mean, if that doesn't go down well, that is their issue, not my issue, because as an academic, I also have the way. I'm not a politician. I try to find it my reasons, and I have written about that. Why Rahul Gandhi is, I consider, the only alternative to Modi, because I find it on the ideological ground, on the ground which is they belong to the two different schools of the ideas which what India is, and I believe in the idea which I think the way Rahul Gandhi is presenting the idea of the to the India, the idea of India to the people, and that's what I mentioned, that why I think Rahul Gandhi is the only alternative to the and Rahul Gandhi is the leader of opposition. I mean, isn't it that's supposed to be in Indian parliamentary system? The leader of opposition should be considered as the alternative to the prime minister. So I don't know what is illegal about it.
When did you actually start writing articles in Indian publications?
Oh, I wrote from the. This is some things which is I wrote for the first time in 2015 November. And this is some things which is came up because I used to write occasionally on the Indian politics before. I have written also in the 90s quite often. But the thing is, I then I had a book come out on the Indian movement in the what you call the struggle against the state in 2010. But it was nobody noticed it as such. People were, that was not ever a controversial issue those days. In 2015, I was in Nepal for evaluating some of the projects which is on the climate issue has been given by some European agencies. So I had gone to evaluate them, and that is the time when it was immediately aftermath of the earthquake which Nepal had suffered, and also the Modi government had imposed a what you call the blockade of from the Indian side goods to be transferred to the Nepal side. And that was actually I was going around Nepal for 2 weeks in interior of Nepal, and I saw that how the people are really suffering because of that blockade. And I was in Nepal just a year before, but in 2013-14, when when because the Nepalis were really looking forward to Modi becoming the prime minister. And then I saw such a sudden change about the Nepalese perception about India and how Nepal sees that what is happening and why they have been, treated like this. So that's what I remember. I started writing my column, and I said that how the blockade to Nepal is because I saw people don't have the gas, so they are cutting down the trees to cook, and lots of deforestation taking place because they don't have cooking possibilities, fuel possibilities of getting otherwise. And I wrote that if this deforestation takes place, it will be leading to more floods and India will be affected. So it's for own India's interest. It should not really create these kind of blockades against Nepal. It's a very straightforward argument which is showing India's interest. And since then, that was published in Scroll. So and then I wrote few articles also for Scroll, as well as there was a India Today publications was coming up. That's Delhi Opinion that was there. I was writing for them. I wrote also for sometimes a couple of articles for Aware. I also wrote for the Outlook but then I was writing regularly for Outlook and Delhi O before 2019 election, and the editors of both the groups were changed that time just before the election, and then I was taken out from writing for that. So I realized it's getting difficult for me to write in India. So then I also started writing from 2020 till last month for the Gulf News in Dubai, which had also a good people, because it had a number of Indian journalists who used to also write for that. So it has also an audience which can go to India and South Asia. So this is how it is. And now I write sometimes for, because last month I came, my 5 years writing with the Gulf News came to end. So, and there is a new change in the Gulf News as well. So I'm now writing sometimes for the Scroll, sometimes for the National Herald, something like that. So.
And Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera, I usually give the. You see, Al Jazeera, I have been invited to give interviews, and that is because I was in-house Al Jazeera's what do you call it, specialist for the water issue, and particularly because I have my research also. I'm a UNESCO chair on international water cooperation. So I was there in-house person to comment on mostly the conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia and Sudan.
So, do you think your articles got sharper and sharper over since 2015? Because the 2015 article looks like a sober analysis, but did it get sharper and sharper? Because CAA, farmers' protests, they must have been very, very pointed.
The politics got nastier. That's what. Then it's of course look. It's not about to be honestly, it is not about BJP or Congress. When Vajpayee was the prime minister, I was invited, and I remember when the nuclear explosion, or the Vajpayee went for the nuclear explosion that time, I think 96. I was asked by the Indian ambassador to come because the Indian embassy was really getting into a lot of hate mails and everything, because the Europeans were not very happy about what was happening in India. And that time, after they didn't really blame Pakistan much, but India was really being. So that time, because I used to go and help the Indian embassy how to really counter those kind of whatever the impression of India. So it's not about the BJP or Congress. It is actually about the politics, what has happened. The politics, when it started 2014, I didn't write it immediately. I didn't write even before the election, though I knew something is going to happen with this new change in the leadership, but it was always for an academic to wait to see what are the policies being made rather than openly criticizing if before happening. So I think it is, as you can probably, in the 2015, I started writing in a way that was supposed to be that time politics, and it's gradually become sharper or critical because the politics of the country changed and the policies of the country changed.
Now, this time round, you've told the courts that you will delete some of your tweets, right?
But I don't know which tweets they have been. My tweets have been all deleted. There are no tweets on my Twitter account as before. You see, this is something which is another thing, because frankly, my lawyers have got, because if the tweets are the problem, I mean, I'm because frankly, I don't have the any things that I cannot delete these tweets, but I need to know which tweets are really the problem, and then frankly, that's all my tweets are from the. I don't think you will see. And first of all, my Twitter account is not shown, is withheld in India. Nobody can see it. And if you able to see it, it's only my tweets are available from the December or end of December 2024. So last 3 months. So there are no tweets. But if of course, if there are any tweets which they think it goes against the or is something which the country illegal or anything contrary their things, but I don't mind to deleting them, but I don't think I have got any particular things which are to be told that which are supposed to be deleted or not.
So what does that assurance mean?
I'm looking at the judgment. Let's see. I mean, I'm trying to see what exactly it will lead to, but I hope that good sense will prevail. That I think it's something which is. I believe that the law will take its own course. There is still a constitution. There is still a country which has the judiciary, and I think it's a somehow. I do believe that finally I will get the justice.
And I
don't want to presume or assume anything.
What is justice? I mean, are you saying that it will be given to you once again?
Yes, of course, because I think, I'm a legally providing all the informations. I had the OCI card. It's not that I have done. I mean, I believe that I do have fulfilled all the requirements of carrying a overseas citizenship. And the justice is that I can at least go and get my overseas citizenship and go meet my family, meet my friends, and look after my whatever. Because I still I have a plan for a long time. I have built my retirement home for more than 25 years. So I want to go back to my hometown, live there. And this is something which I always looking forward to. And that's, I think, the justice is that's what belongs to me should belong to me.
No, has the court laid down that you have to do it by date X?
No, there is nothing. No, there is nothing.
If in which case the government could take another 5 years to give it to you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't really know. I mean, I frankly don't want to assume anything what is going on. I frankly have no idea what is going to happen. That's my lawyers will be really looking at it and what exactly they will be advising. I'm waiting for their advice to see how shall I proceed.
So its matter is still suspended, as it were.
Yes, at this point, yes. I think the only thing is that I am happy to in a way that the judge and the lawyers or the legal system has for the second time established the fact that the decisions which have been taken to cancel my overseas citizenship are not valid, are not justified. They have given me the right to carry the overseas citizenship, and that's what is some things which I value, and I think it's important. And of course, how it will lead to, where it will lead to, frankly, in this kind of atmosphere, I don't dare to assume anything.
Ashok, just to clarify this small point, last time when the judge, the courts overturned the Ministry of Home Affairs or government's order, you had it for a few weeks or few months, and you still made it
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. You made it to India in those 2 weeks. Am I right?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't. I was. The last time I have been to India is in February 2020 for 4 days. I got a ban from the government to a letter 2020 November, not that I'm banned to enter India. Since then, and then the COVID was there in the beginning, and then after that, I have not been to India for more than 5 years now. So, but that sometimes the press puts it 3 years or something, but it's actually for the 5 years I haven't seen my family, my mother and my friends.
so are you planning to apply to the embassy for a reinstatement of your card?
I don't think that is because the reinstatement of the card is supposed to be, with my, because as I understand, I do have the card now, overseas citizenship card, as per the court order.
Okay.
So, but the question is whether I will be able to go to India or not. And that is something which is supposed to be, I cannot somehow guess. So this is what it is. And
So
you know better Indian situation than I do.
So it is still a little hazy, firstly, and more than that, you yourself are a little uncertain, because even if you have a valid legal document, you feel that that's not, in terms of your general perception, you're not sure whether it is what will happen once you enter.
Or whether I will be able to enter, or what will happen after I enter. I mean, given the kind of others, those who have been the kind of similarly the kind of treatment have been made to the other academics or other journalists or other commentators and many others in the last actually, as I said, I probably the only one who has been I was the only, I think, the first academic who got this letter about OCI abroad. I mean, first academic living abroad. But then I think after that there are several of them have got it, and so it's not exactly I am the only one in this case. There have several of them, and I think I really because it is still a fluid situation. Frankly, Sidharth, I really do not dare to be feel happy or sad or anything to draw from this. It is just that I was very happy in the first time, and also very happy second time, in a sense that that actually the court ruled something which made it because it's all it's some things I need to tell that, because when uh, they said this, that they have something serious against me, that I am been a threat to India's unity and whatever, and then they can do something serious, that they will only give it to the judge for his eyes only, not to even my lawyer. It created a lot of suspicion. It created a lot of doubts in the minds of the people who know me, or even don't know me. But now I think after those that has been shown to the judge, and judge gave this ruling, I am happy that it is somehow come out with the judicial pronouncement that I am not a person who is against India, who is not against the country, or who has not done anything which harms the country or harms the India. So it's a somehow that's some things which I am happy about. I understand that I mean I have been suffering for the last 5 years, not being able to go to India. That's another part. That's only a personal. But I think it's my emotionally, I feel relieved that I'm not a traitor or anti-national, what the Indian government or its supporters have been telling people for some time.
Okay, so the threat to Indian unity, I suppose, was something that the government must have implied or said.
No, because they had told that it is something which they will only share with the judge, and they shared with the judge, and after that the judgment came like this. So that's what I'm saying.
But the phrase "threat to Indian unity"
yeah, that's what they had used. Yeah,
the government used, the government's lawyer used.
Yeah. In 2023 August, when they filed the second, they canceled my second, cancel it for second time. That's the argument they did.
Tell me, is it going to stop you writing about India? Has it stopped you in the last 5 years?
No, I mean,
more importantly, whatever you have written here and there, you may have written. Have you toned down your criticism? Have you written, and if you have written, have you toned down your criticism?
No, listen, I mean, I write the way I feel I write about the issues. I don't write because if I would have been toned down or being afraid of any, because I mean, I write about India whenever I write the way I see it, the policies, and I put it the way I see it. I have never been afraid of saying some things which I think I should say, which I believe is what I should say. It's not that for any other considerations, but the idea with my experience of looking at my lifelong research on peace and conflict, and looking at the democratic development in different parts of the world. I have been critical of Sheikh Hasina when she was in power, that Sheikh Hasina people didn't like me in Bangladesh. Now, even the present Asim Munir, the general in Pakistan, that group doesn't like me. Neither the Turkish Erdogan group doesn't like me. Doesn't mean that this is somehow I will be, or even the Netanyahu group doesn't like me. That doesn't really makes me to stop writing about these people, stop saying about these people. But because I think it will not be, as an academic, I will not be doing justice to myself and my profession if I don't see the things the way I see it is.
Where have you written about India in the last few years?
Oh, I have written in the Gulf News. I recently wrote also, because I'm writing also sometimes in Scroll, sometimes in the National Herald. National Herald, I'm writing regularly, but writing sometimes now. I mean, a few times about the American politics because that or the Trump, but that has become more interesting. But also the Indian politics. I wrote about actually this week. I wrote in the National Herald about the language conflict in India and how India should learn from the other part of the world that not to create another language conflict, which is coming up. So that's what I did.
So, do you think that the OCI, I mean, you were talking about the others, academics also, do you think the OCI has been weaponized over the last few years? Something that should have been a very normal document once given to that person, unless that person commits a serious crime, was taken for granted. Do you think it has been weaponized? Because I find people with OCI, people whom I know, being very, very careful in saying anything. So, do you think that fear has, the weaponization has created fear among people?
Yes, of course, but I think I'm not sure whether I look. This is some things, as I've said in the beginning, that I have never made it a general case. I have fought it on my way, and I still fight it as a single case. That what has been happening, and I've never been part of any kind of group or something that who have been victimized because of the OCI. But as I was mentioning since now, there have been several academics, several journalists, several commentators in the different parts of the world. They have been targeted. They have been, or their OCI have been come into question. And these OCI haven't come into question not on the basis of these things like, take for example, who is going against any kind of some things which is a real threat to the country, or they have been real, but because of their writings, because of their belief, or because of their criticisms. So in my case, I think it has been used to silence my voice, but that has not been successful till now. And I assume that the same policies have been made with some others, if I can dare to assume that. But I think this is something which has been the number of cases, and many of the journalists, many of the writings have come up in the last few months, last year, since last year, particularly internationally, and very rarely nationally, but mostly international newspapers and the news organs have brought out these stories, how the OCI is being used against the people, those who are critics of the policies or the politics of the government. So this is not, this is not anymore anything to be any secret or anything which is not known to. But what I can say, that I can only say it from my side, that I think that, as I'm mentioning all the time, that I do not see any reason why my OCI or my travel to India to be stopped, to be honest.
My last point. Has your university ever told you to stop writing critical pieces about India?
I work for a public university. It's the oldest university in Scandinavia. And it's a public university. And then there have been numerous threats against me, against my family, and not only against me and my family, but also against my university colleagues, as well as my senior or bosses at the university. Number of threats have come up in the last 10, 12 years. There have been a number of petitions have sent against me to my university. There have been public petitions also against me, not only to my university but also to UNESCO, because I also hold a UNESCO chair. But to be honest, thankfully, my bosses or my colleagues, they have been always sided with me. I've never been uh, asked to do anything other than, I mean, despite they have been threatened, despite there is a number of security measures they have to take to protect me, but I think they have been extremely helpful and always considerate. And I've never faced anything. And also it's some things which is I am allowed as an academic, part of my academic freedom to say things and write things the way I find it I mean, I should. So I think that will be a complete infringement on my basic rights as an academic in this country. But they have been very helpful.
Threats by whom? By the Indian community or elsewhere?
Oh, there have been a number of ways. There have been threats have come in many sites, particularly through digitally, as well as intelligence. In the Swedish intelligence have picked up so yes, there have been many threats against me for several years.
And
very particular direct threats of very severe nature. And this is something which I have never made it public also, because I thought this is a personal. I always think it's a fight that I should not really feel victim of. It's a fight I should try to take up with and I think when the law and the justice is on my side, I should fight it alone. But I think it is. So I don't want to really I don't want to create a victimhood here that I have been. But I think it's when you were asking these questions, it has been going on and you asked this, what the university, because the university has also suffered a lot because of me.
And I suppose it's also perhaps because it is a country which takes these things seriously rather than just dismiss them. I mean, I'm assuming, and the university has taken this seriously.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, from 18, so the Sweden is the first country where the freedom of expression was been written. I mean, and this is the first time it was approved by the Swedish legislation, the first country to approve the freedom of speech and expression. So I think this is somehow, they take it very seriously here.
Yeah. So just to sum up my last bit, Ashok, it's still a very hazy, fluid, as you called it, fluid, unclear situation. But you hope for the best. And because you've been saying that, I want to visit my mother, and you hope for the best that you can come and visit your family.
Yes, I mean, I still hope, and I think I have hope, and those hope have been reinstated by the Indian judicial system, that I'm not really misplacing my hope. Of course, there are challenges, there are issues, as we all know, but I think I still believe if you are on the side of the truth, you are side on the side of the justice, side of the what it should be right. I think one day, hopefully, it will be all right, and I will be able to see my mother, my friends, my family, and that will be something I really look up to and look forward to. And yeah,
At the moment, there are no immediate plans.
As I said, if I plan to travel, I will send you an email beforehand, and if I come to Mumbai, I will meet you there.
Oh, that's good news. Ashok, thank you very much. You've been very candid, and I may be wrong, but I haven't seen your side of the entire story in such detail, which you have provided us. So I just hope you get a to begin with, you get a clearer picture, and you are be able to travel to India in the coming coming few weeks, as it were, why months. That was Dr. Ashok Swain, a Swedish academic, whose OCI has been cancelled twice, a very unprecedented case. And as he keeps on saying, that, it's about I'm not fighting a larger battle. I'm just trying to find out what's my situation. And I'm fighting because I have complete and total faith in the Indian judiciary, which, by the way, at least twice in this particular case has been confirmed. So thank you once more, Dr. Ashok Swain. We'll be back once again next time with another guest on the Wire Talks. Till then, from me, Sidharth Bhatia, and the rest of the Wire Talks team, goodbye.